After the divorce, I took my paralyzed parents to live in a remote town in Northern Europe. I changed my phone, changed my residence, and completely cut off all old connections. They all thought I disappeared just out of spite, that I would soon come back to make peace. But for 3 years, they didn't receive any news from me. Until that day, when I was setting up a fish stall at the night market, an old friend recognized me.
Where have you been all these years? When will you forgive Lucas?
Lucas is my ex-husband. In the 8th year of our marriage, he became frantically obsessed with a rising actress, the so-called last pure star of the entertainment industry. He spoiled her to the point of giving her the stars if she wanted stars, the moon if she wanted the moon. The entire upper class in the capital knew that Lucas's canary was untouchable. I didn't treat it as a big deal, insisting on tearing that third party apart. The first time, I pushed her into the pool right in front of everyone. To comfort her, Lucas abandoned a billion-dollar contract to take her to Iceland to see the aurora. The second time, I canceled her endorsement contract. After finding out, Lucas locked me in the wine cellar for 4 months, forcing me to apologize. The third time, I couldn't stand it anymore and secretly helped Tiffany escape to the Philippines. That night, Lucas kidnapped my parents, pouring gasoline on them just to force me to reveal her hiding place. My whole body trembled, my eyes red as I asked him, "Lucas, if I don't tell you, will you really kill them?" He stood looking down, his eyes cold and devoid of warmth.
You can try.
I didn't dare to try. In tears, I choked out the words. The address is on Bohol Island, the house north of the Coral Church. After speaking, he signaled his subordinates to verify. Waiting for confirmation, he grabbed his jacket and turned to leave. I lunged forward, grabbing his pant leg, screaming in despair. "Where are my parents? You said if I told you, you would release them." He didn't look back.
The warehouse north of the city. Go find them yourself.
I drove there like a madwoman. When I found them, the warehouse was already blazing fiercely. My parents were tied to iron barrels. The fire was too big for me to get close. I cried out in panic. My parents tried their best to push me away. The moment I fell backward, a burning beam crashed down. "Dad! Mom!" A violent explosion roared. I fell to the ground, my vision filled with only crimson red. When I opened my eyes again, I was in the hospital. My parents were seriously injured but luckily survived. I collapsed on top of them, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I loved the wrong person and involved you both." Mom gently stroked my hair, her voice weak. "No, Mom, silly girl, it's not your fault. We just need to leave." He won't let me go. Actually, ever since I knew of Tiffany's existence, I wanted a divorce. But every time I mentioned it, Lucas would tear up the divorce papers. He told me he was only temporarily fascinated with Tiffany, that he would come back after he got bored playing. He also said he only loved me and would never let go. Dad held my hand. "Nom, Dad Hannah, there is something you don't know yet. Maybe Lucas forgot about it too. Years ago, before you married him, we made him sign a divorce agreement. If he betrayed you, the agreement would immediately take effect. You can divorce directly, and our whole family will completely disappear." I was stunned, tears streaming down. It turned out my parents had long ago left a way out for me. The next day I only did 2 things. First, took the agreement with my parents to see a lawyer. The lawyer confirmed the document was legal, and the divorce was effective immediately. Second, filed procedures to cancel the household registration for the whole family. The staff said it needed 5 days. After discussing with my parents, I decided to temporarily return to the Lucas mansion. For those 5 days, I had to continue playing the role of Mrs. Lucas, not letting him get suspicious. Back at the villa, I began to erase my traces in this house. In the bedroom was a model of 520 immortal roses he folded himself to give me. The jewelry he searched the world to find for me. Even the love lock for which he knelt 999 steps to pray that we would never be separated. Item by item, they were all proof that he once loved me. But now only bitter irony remained. I told the servant to bring a charcoal basin, throwing every gift he gave into the fire. The fire swallowed the memories, burning away the last bit of love I had for him. The next day, I took scissors and cut up every cluster of violets he had planted all over the yard with his own hands. On the third day, I went up to Mount Puto where we got engaged, found the tree hanging the love lock, removed the lock, threw it straight into the sea, turned my back, and left without looking back. That evening, Lucas's secretary brought an evening gown, saying there was a charity auction tonight and he needed someone to accompany him. Arriving there, I saw Tiffany standing next to him right at the door. I looked at him. "You already brought her, so why call me here?" He was nonchalant.
Jealous again? Tiffany wanted to broaden her horizons, so I brought her along. Behave yourself.
I felt cold. He never cared about how much I was pointed at by others. After speaking, he led Tiffany into the main hall. People around started whispering. Dan Trian, Crowd CEO Lucas and his wife are truly affectionate, a match made in heaven. Dan Trian, Crowd 2, you're mistaken. The person behind is Mrs. Lucas. The other one is just a canary. That person looked at me in embarrassment and whispered. Dan Trian, Crowd 2, but CEO Lucas spoils that girl too much, buying her the new season's items. The wife is wearing last season's stock. Hard to blame people for misunderstanding. I clenched my hands, fingernails digging deep into my flesh. It's fine, just endure for 2 more days, and I will leave Lucas forever. After the auction started, I casually raised my paddle a few times. But every time I bid, Tiffany always deliberately bid $1 more to pressure me. Mocking sounds arose around us. Dan Trian, Crowd, the legitimate wife being stepped on by the mistress like this, truly, live long enough and you'll see everything. Expressionless, I raised my hand pointing at the sky lantern. Tiffany paled and snuggled close into Lucas's chest. New, Tiffany Lucas, I really want this item. He frowned and turned to me.
Hannah, let Tiffany have it.
Why should I? I have the right to point at the sky lantern because I am your legal wife. I have rights to the marital assets. I looked towards Tiffany and laughed coldly. As for her, no matter how much you give her, she will never compare to me. Tiffany immediately turned red with anger, stood up, and pointed at me. New, Tiffany you. Immediately after, she suddenly covered her face and cried. New, Tiffany, yes, you are Mrs. Lucas, and I am nothing but a canary that cannot be seen in public. It's my fault for not knowing my place. Lucas, let's stop this. Saying that, she ran out. Lucas's face darkened. He immediately grabbed my wrist tight, with enough force to seem like he wanted to crush my bones.
I already said, I will come back when I'm bored playing. Did you have to force her to leave?
I calmly replied. Whether she leaves or not, what does that have to do with me? His eyes were cold as ice. He shoved me away hard and rushed out to chase after her. I stood still, bearing all the strange looks from around me. At dawn, I was about to sleep when a notification popping up on my phone startled me awake. Shocking. Private video of the Lucas family CEO's wife put up for public auction. My blood seemed to freeze. Only Lucas possessed those videos. Trying to keep my hands from shaking, I called him. Did you do the auction? Lucas laughed coldly.
Didn't you really like pointing at the sky lantern? If you don't want those videos flying all over the internet.
His voice was malicious.
Then go redeem them one by one.
On the other end of the line, Tiffany's soft voice rang out. New, Tiffany Lucas, is it her? Or should I go? I don't deserve to be by your side.
Don't talk nonsense.
His voice immediately softened. The sound of lips and tongues kissing clearly came through the phone.
I've already vented your anger for you, and you still want to run?
Then the call was cut. My whole body was freezing cold. I rushed to the auction house. As soon as I pushed the door open, a large screen was playing my private video. It was a scene of me bathing, my bare wet back. At that time, he seduced me, saying that if he missed me, he would have something to watch. There were also photos of me lying naked on the bed covered in hickeys. Back then, he said this was proof of love. The whole hall of men looked at me with lecherous eyes, speaking disgusting words. Nom, crowd, I didn't expect the Lucas family wife to be so wild. Nom, Crowd 2 CEO Lucas is truly generous, sharing even a video like this. I suddenly remembered Lucas's intense possessiveness before. If I wore a shirt with a slightly low neckline, he would be unhappy, then drag me to a secluded place, forcing me to repeat "Hannah belongs to Lucas" over and over until his anger subsided. Yet now, to defend Tiffany, he personally sold my privacy for those men to enjoy. I raised the paddle to buy back the videos one by one. Each time I raised the paddle, a part of my heart died. When it came to the last one, the heart that loved him inside me also completely died. Just as I left the auction house, Lucas called.
How was it? Was the sky lantern satisfying enough?
My hand holding the phone clenched until it turned white. Lucas, aren't you afraid I will divorce you? He laughed as if coaxing an ignorant child.
Without my signature, do you think you can divorce?
I didn't answer. Sure enough, he had forgotten that agreement. A moment later, his voice softened.
This was just a lesson. As long as you don't touch Tiffany in the future, I will return to the family.
Listening made me nauseous. I immediately hung up and went to process the residency cancellation. Just need to sign, wait for the procedure to complete tomorrow, and I will take my parents away from here forever. Afterward, even if he turns the world upside down, he won't find me. But I didn't expect Tiffany to refuse to let go. According to her, she wanted me completely out of Lucas's heart. So that night, she set fire to her own house. Lucas immediately rushed over, risking his life to charge into the sea of fire to carry her out. Tiffany's face was pale and weak as she looked up, her eyes glittering as if about to cry. She used her blistered hand to claw at Lucas. New, Tiffany Lucas, I accidentally knocked over a burning candle. Hannah has never been here. Please don't blame her 1,000 times over. Having said that, she fainted. Just that one sentence made me, who happened to be nearby processing the residency removal, the culprit. He ordered people to drag me to the hospital, every word stabbing straight into my heart.
It's all because of you that Tiffany got burned, so you must cut the tender skin from your inner thigh to graft onto her.
Then, ignoring my resistance, he ordered the bodyguards to drag me into the operating room at his private hospital. He coldly instructed the doctor.
Don't use anesthesia, avoid affecting the graft's efficiency.
The moment the flesh was cut, the tears I had struggled to hold back all this time finally fell. A tiny flicker of pity flashed in his eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. The hand that almost reached out to wipe my tears was pulled back. He said coldly,
This is what you owe Tiffany. What right do you have to cry?
After the surgery, he sent all the doctors to care for Tiffany and said he would take care of me himself. I turned my head away, determined not to look at him. He sighed.
Why are you so stubborn? After all these years, haven't you learned to be obedient? I told you, Tiffany and I are just having a fling. The person I love most is still you. Why must you hurt her? Wait until Tiffany wakes up, go apologize to her, and we'll consider this matter closed. I won't pursue it further.
I was just about to open my mouth when the doctor rushed in. Doctor, CEO Lucas, something happened. Miss Tiffany is experiencing severe rejection and has lost too much blood. She needs an emergency transfusion.
Take her blood.
Lucas immediately pulled me up from the bed, pushing me towards the lead doctor. The doctor caught me looking troubled. Doctor, CEO Lucas, the madam's blood type is not a match. Moreover, she is anemic and just had surgery. If we forcibly draw blood, it could lead to sepsis, endangering her life. Lucas hesitated for a moment, but when a scream of pain rang out from the adjacent ward, he immediately snarled.
Take it. Draw double the amount that she lost, then use the excess to water the flowers.
The attending doctor looked at me with pity, intending to advise further. I was so heartbroken I couldn't breathe, almost biting through my lip. Not wanting to involve others, I finally spoke up. Take it. The large needle pierced my vein. I trembled uncontrollably. Tube after tube of blood was drawn out. My body gradually turned ice cold, and my vision began to blur. Not knowing how much blood had been drawn, I finally passed out. When I woke up, it was the afternoon of the next day, only 3 hours before the flight took off. I struggled to sit up and pack my things to prepare for discharge. Unexpectedly, Lucas made a rare appearance at my ward door. He held a box of cinnamon cakes in his hand. Before, whenever I was sick or unwell, even in storms, He would run everywhere to buy this to cheer me up. His cold voice pulled me back to reality.
From now on, I will be with you on weekends, and the other days will be for Tiffany.
I stood still and said nothing.
Today is Wednesday. I have to go back to her.
Saying that, he shoved the cake box into my hand.
This is to make it up to you. Remember not to come and bother us.
He walked to the door, stopped, and added a sentence.
I'll come back on the weekend.
I looked at his retreating back and said calmly, "Okay, goodbye." It's truly laughable. He still thought I would wait for him. Lucas frowned slightly, seemingly surprised by my reaction, but in the end said nothing more, turned his back, and walked away. As soon as he left, I received a text message, "Residency removal procedure completed." I immediately threw the box of cinnamon cakes into the trash. Ignoring the nurse's obstruction, I pulled out the 4-needle myself and processed the discharge. I grabbed the luggage prepared long ago and rushed to the airport without looking back. At the ticket checkpoint, my parents were waiting for me. Mom choked up, hugging me tight. "Mom, my child, all the suffering is over." I nodded, choking back tears too. Approaching boarding time, I took out my phone, removed the SIM card, and threw it into the trash. Thrown away along with it was the wedding ring I once regarded as my life. Before the plane took off, I looked at this city one last time. Goodbye, Lucas. For the past 8 years, I gave you everything. At the same time, Lucas was with Tiffany, hugging her while watching a movie. For some reason, a strange unease flashed through his heart, an empty feeling as if something very important was lost forever. Tiffany noticed his distraction, looked up, and asked, "Tiffany, what's wrong?"
Nothing. Probably just an illusion.
Lucas shook his head, smiled, and hugged her tighter. For 3 consecutive days, they were inseparable. But from the initial feeling of satisfaction, Lucas gradually felt bored and lost interest. Tiffany had tried all the new tricks, but he still couldn't focus. Not because he was bored with the games, but because he was starting to get bored with her person. Staying with one person forever is truly boring. More importantly, Hannah hadn't texted for a very long time. She was exactly as he wished, absolutely not bothering him on the days he wasn't with her. Clearly, this was what he once wanted, yet now he felt a sense of loss in his heart. Lucas glanced at the phone in the chat box with Hannah. Unknown to him, the dialogue had gone from intimate to cold, pitifully sparse. The most recent message was from a few days ago, on the day of the auction. He frowned, an inexplicable anger rising in his heart.
She doesn't want to bother me, so she really does nothing? Does she still remember she's my wife?
Lucas repeatedly opened Hannah's profile picture, hoping to see a message from her, but there was nothing. He hesitated, not knowing whether to call her or not. Before he could finish thinking, Tiffany suddenly covered his eyes. Tiffany, guess what surprise I prepared for you? Lucas was distracted by the sudden movement. His finger accidentally touched the screen, and the call was dialed. Dan Trian, operator, sorry, the number you have called does not exist. The cold robotic voice rang in both their ears. Both were stunned. Tiffany, let's talk about it later. Lucas irritably pushed Tiffany behind him, looking incredulous, and immediately called Hannah again. But it was still that voice, that sentence.
How can this be?
His mind was blank, unable to understand what had happened. Tiffany saw the receiver's name and pretended to advise. Tiffany, Lucas, maybe Hannah is just busy with something, or she's angry and jealous of me, so she deliberately canceled the number, wanting you to worry and come back to find her. She is still your wife. Where else can she go? What could happen? I'm afraid she's at home waiting for you to come and coax her right now. Lucas lowered his eyes and thought. What Tiffany said made sense. Perhaps it was true. Hannah was doing this on purpose to force him to be anxious. He frowned tightly, his heart full of annoyance and frustration.
How long does she intend to make a scene? What's fun about this game? Compared to you, she's not as obedient and understanding. Tiffany, I'll ignore her. Let's see how long she can endure.
But less than a minute later, he put on his jacket and straightened up in front of the mirror, coldly throwing back a sentence.
There's urgent business at the company. I have to go handle it first. You rest well.
Saying that, he didn't give Tiffany a single glance, walked straight out the door, drove, and left. Tiffany was so angry she punched the throw pillow several times. "New, Tiffany, damn it. Hannah, you really have tricks. I absolutely won't let you steal him." But Lucas didn't go to the company. Instead, he drove at top speed back to the villa. However, dusk had fallen. The whole city was bright with lights, but the villa on the hillside was pitch dark, as if no one lived there. For a moment, he almost thought he was hallucinating. He confirmed it many times before believing that the villa really had no lights, as if it had been abandoned for a long time. And nameless panic rose in his heart beating fast.
Hannah, what trick are you playing? This hard-to-get game is useless with me.
Lucas pushed the door open, turned on the lights, and frowned as he walked around the villa looking for someone. But the whole house was empty, so quiet that an echo could be heard. A thin layer of dust covered the tea table. The flowers in the vase had long withered, leaving only a dry yellow branch. Clearly, no one had lived here for several days. A sense of disappointment and loss surged in his heart. He pressed his lips together tightly, trying to force himself to stay calm.
Impossible. Hannah cannot divorce me. I have power and influence. She can't hide, even if she tries.
Lucas tried to stay calm, regaining his familiar tone.
Hannah, stop making a fuss. If you come out now, I will stay with you for a few more days. I told you, Tiffany was just a fling, and now I'm starting to get bored. The person I love most is you, the irreplaceable one. Give me a little more time. I will soon return to the family. Continuing like this is meaningless. Aren't you afraid I'll really divorce you?
No matter how many words he spoke, the response was still absolute silence. No room in the villa had any trace of Hannah. Even some of her belongings had disappeared. She had truly left. When he finally realized this, Lucas's thin lips pressed tight, his whole body seemingly covered in pressure ready to explode. Not only were Hannah's belongings gone, but all evidence of love and memories between them had also completely disappeared. The back garden was bare, the large patch of violets once planted for her was gone, leaving only a few withered petals. It wasn't until this moment that Lucas truly panicked. Before, no matter how many times he hurt her, she had never left like this. He just needed to coax her with a few sentences, and she would soften and forgive him. But now, even the garden of violets he planted with his own hands, something tied to 8 years of affection between the two, she had thrown away. Lucas's heart felt like it fell into a deep abyss, sinking into the darkness of despair. He tremblingly dialed Hannah's number. Unsurprisingly, it was still the familiar voice. "Dan Trian, operator, the number does not exist."
Hannah, where on earth have you gone?
He sent the first message after days of silence, but the next second, a bright red exclamation mark appeared before his eyes, dazzlingly painful. He never thought there would be a day when Hannah completely cut off contact with him. A bad premonition rose in his heart. He hurriedly called Hannah's parents. "Dan Trian, operator, sorry, the number you have called does not exist." It was still the cold, robotic voice repeating, as if mocking his stupidity. The Lamb family had also wiped out all contact with him. Their whole family seemed determined to completely cut ties with him. But he wouldn't allow it. He hadn't signed the divorce papers. Even if they hid at the ends of the earth, he would drag them all back to him. Lucas's face was gloomy. He immediately called his secretary and roared,
Go investigate the whereabouts of Hannah's entire family immediately. Where have they been since the kidnapping incident? You must investigate every point clearly. Hannah wants to leave me? No way.
The secretary was called up in the middle of the night, trying to suppress his sleepiness, and hurriedly replied, "Nom, secretary, yes, I will immediately have people investigate." After hanging up, Lucas still couldn't calm down. He returned to the villa, looking at the empty house, a feeling of loneliness filling his heart. It felt like someone had just gouged a piece out of his heart, hollow, aching, and bleeding. Lucas only now belatedly felt regret. If that day he hadn't been chasing a new thrill, hadn't sought women outside, perhaps things wouldn't have come to this state. But in that social circle, all men are like that. One at home, one outside, there are even loads of people out there playing harder than him. Tiffany was gentle and understanding. Why couldn't Hannah sympathize and accept it? Lucas was confused, his heart full of doubts. He couldn't sleep all night. There was a restlessness and frustration inside him that couldn't be named, constantly urging him to hurry, faster, to find Hannah quickly, otherwise he would regret it for life. The person sent to investigate took a long time to get results. The secretary brought a file and a USB drive and placed them in front of Lucas. "Nom, Secretary CEO Lucas, we found out. The madam. Miss Hannah took the divorce agreement you signed when you got married to find a lawyer. Now the legal side has automatically confirmed the divorce is effective. In addition, she and her parents have canceled their residency and left here. We only know they bought plane tickets to Country C, after which all traces were completely lost." The secretary's voice got smaller and smaller, his head almost bowing to the ground, not daring to look into Lucas's deadly eyes. As the words ended, the whole room sank into a terrifying silence. It was at that moment that Lucas suddenly remembered that when they got married, to reassure Hannah's parents, he silently signed a divorce agreement without letting Hannah know. He thought that agreement would never be used, so he completely forgot about it. Unexpectedly, one day, Hannah actually used it to leave him. Lucas's face was expressionless, but the hand holding the file clenched so tight the paper crumpled into a ball. In those deep eyes, a storm of rage rolled like a fire about to erupt. He tried to suppress his emotions, almost torturing himself as he flipped through each page of the document in his hand. The text and photos clearly recorded everything Hannah had done during this time. She was truly determined to leave him. But Lucas couldn't accept it.
"Even if you have to search the ends of the earth, you must find Hannah for me."
He was so angry his chest heaved violently. He threw the file hard onto the table. The secretary was full of confusion. "Nom, Secretary CEO Lucas, didn't you not love Miss Hannah anymore? Isn't divorce a good thing? Why be so stubborn?" Miss Hannah inherently couldn't accept it, and Miss Tiffany definitely couldn't accept you having another woman. Forcing her to stay would only hurt both of you. Moreover, Miss Tiffany is actually not as gentle as you think. In the USB are the proofs we investigated, proving Miss Tiffany deliberately framed Miss Hannah. Would you like to take a look? Hearing this, Lucas's face immediately darkened. He had just hesitated about opening the USB when Tiffany suddenly rushed in. "New Tiffany Lucas, did Hannah send someone to badmouth me again? She hates me this much, it seems she really can't let me stay anymore. I wanted to be with you for a lifetime, but she keeps forcing me like this. Maybe it's better if I leave you." She sobbed like countless times before, covering her face with her hands crying, then pretending to run out. However, after running a few steps, she still didn't wait for anyone to chase her. The tricks that were always effective before had absolutely no effect this time. Tiffany turned her head back several times, her steps deliberately slowing down. Even when the elevator arrived at this floor, she didn't see anyone coming. The grievance on her face stiffened. For a moment, she didn't know whether to really continue leaving. At the same time, in the office, Lucas plugged the USB into the computer, his face tense as he quickly scanned the videos inside. Countless surveillance recordings were pieced together, recreating all of Hannah's actions recently. She had never actively bullied Tiffany. On the contrary, every time it was Tiffany deliberately provoking and framing her. Lucas's face was as black as ink, and killing intent gradually appeared in his eyes.
"Bring Tiffany back here for me,"
he roared. His long fingers clenched into fists, making loud cracking sounds, clearly angry to the extreme. The secretary hurriedly ran to block Tiffany, only to see her still hesitating in front of the elevator. Seeing him arrive, her eyes lit up immediately, making the secretary despise her in his heart. He never liked this type of woman like Tiffany. Before, he didn't understand why the CEO had eyes for her. Now he understood even less. In his eyes, Miss Hannah was 100, 1,000 times better than Tiffany in every aspect. It was just a pity the CEO didn't know how to cherish her. Perhaps once men possess something, they get bored. He couldn't comment further. Seeing the secretary approach, Tiffany couldn't help but smirk, but still forced a few teardrops to fall. "New, Tiffany, did Lucas tell you to come pick me up? I don't want to go back to him anymore. Tell him I don't want to be a canary anymore." She huffed lightly, pouting as if pretending to walk away. The secretary kept a cold face blocking her. Nom, secretary, sorry Miss Tiffany, CEO Lucas wants to see you. You cannot leave. Saying that, he used a posture that couldn't be refused, forcibly dragging her back to the office. Tiffany felt something was wrong. A vague sense of unease rose in her heart, but she didn't know why. Bam! The office door slammed shut and was locked tight. Lucas walked straight over and strangled Tiffany, his voice full of anger.
Where exactly did you get the nerve to frame and bully Hannah like that? Was it because I indulged you too much?
Tiffany, no. It was Hannah. Tiffany's face turned red. Her hands kept pushing his arm, her mouth making broken sounds. The air in her lungs grew less and less, her eyes gradually darkening. Just as she was about to suffocate, Lucas let go. He threw her straight to the ground, his eyes full of anger and hatred. Able to breathe again, Tiffany gasped for air in large gulps, tears flowing uncontrollably, but they didn't elicit a shred of pity from Lucas. She didn't know what he knew, still pretending to be pitiful as usual. Grabbing his pant leg, eyes red, thin body trembling, looking extremely pathetic. She opened her mouth trembling. Tiffany Lucas. Mr. Lucas, I really didn't do anything. It's all a misunderstanding. I can explain. Is Miss Hannah jealous, angry? I can just apologize to her. Don't treat me like this, okay? I'm very scared. Lucas looked at her coldly, unable to help but mock himself in his heart. So before, he was led by the nose by a woman like this. Truly laughable. His face was cold as ice. He kicked her far away.
Get out. Don't touch me. You make me sick. Secretary Zhang. However Tiffany framed Hannah before, make her pay 10 times the price.
For the next 5 months, Lucas constantly traveled everywhere looking for Hannah's whereabouts. Hearing news that she once appeared in Country F, he immediately flew there. Honestly, he wasn't sure in his heart either. He didn't know where Hannah would go. Before, she casually mentioned travel destinations she wanted to visit. He went to all of them, but still didn't find a trace of Hannah. The suspense and eagerness in Lucas's heart gradually subsided, finally dissolving into bubbles. One day, 5 days, half a month, he couldn't remember how long he had been searching, visibly losing weight. Because he was constantly running around outdoors, his skin tanned quite a bit, but the dark circles under his eyes couldn't be hidden. The blood vessels in his eyes were dense like a spider web. As long as Hannah hadn't appeared, he couldn't sleep well. The torment and suffering in his heart hurt 100,000 times more than physical wounds. If at this moment she appeared in front of him, even being tortured by her until his body was covered in injuries would be easier than this endless torment. It turned out waiting for someone without knowing when they would return was this painful. Lucas truly regretted it. If he could go back, he would rather slash 1,000 cuts on the self that stepped in the wrong direction in a moment years ago. Just when he was almost desperate, Secretary Zhang suddenly sent a message. Seeing the coordinates and the profile photo of Hannah, Lucas could almost not hold back his tears. He took a deep breath to force himself to calm down, not bothering to tidy up, immediately driving to that restaurant at top speed.
Hannah.
When he pushed open the private room door and saw everyone inside clearly, Lucas was completely stunned.
Julian, why are you here?
His heart felt like countless nerves were stretched tight. He questioned in panic. Julian casually curved his lips slightly. Julian, I am Hannah's boyfriend. If I can't be here, who can? That sentence was like a thunderclap. A loud boom exploded in Lucas's head, his ears ringing, all outside sounds seeming to vanish completely. That sentence repeated in his head as if wanting to drive him crazy.
How can that be? Hannah, how could he become your boyfriend so quickly? Explain it to me clearly.
Lucas's eyes were bloodshot, extremely weak, his voice trembling. Hannah casually ate while speaking indifferently. Not that fast. It's been half a year since we divorced. He pursued me for a long time. I wanted to give it a try. I'm single anyway. What's wrong with that? Lucas was choked for words, his lips moving a few times, but no sound came out.
So it's been over half a year already? Not good. Not good at all. I don't want to see you with someone else. You are mine. I love you. Only you.
Huh. Hannah laughed coldly, finding it extremely ridiculous.
You keep saying you love me, but is the way you love hurting people? If that's love, I'd rather not have it.
In her eyes, there wasn't a single shred of affection left, only coldness. Lucas's heart felt like it was cut into pieces. He stared at Hannah's hand holding Julian's hand tightly, his eyes looking like they wanted to explode. Lucas disregarded everything to hug Hannah tight like countless times before, using possessiveness to force her into his arms, intending to press a frantic kiss on her lips. Slap. A crisp slap sounded. Hannah delivered a strong slap that turned his face aside. Lucas, we are divorced. I don't love you anymore. I cannot accept your so-called concept of love. You don't love me, you only love yourself. Stop pretending to be love-struck to deceive yourself. She coldly pushed him away with all her strength. Julian also immediately stepped up to shield her, his voice cold as ice. Julian Lucas, Hannah is my girlfriend now. If you dare do anything to her, I absolutely will not let it slide. The Julian family is not easy to bully. Moreover, the Julian family's power overseas is much stronger than the Lucas family's. You'd better consider carefully. Not only that, Hannah's parents also stepped up to block in front of their daughter, glaring at Lucas with eyes full of fury. Dad Lucas, although we cannot compare to the wealthy and powerful Lucas family, even if we have to risk our lives, even if these two old people die, we absolutely will not let you take Hannah away. You and Hannah fundamentally don't suit each other. You'd better go back to being your rich young master. Don't come disturb her anymore. Get out. If you dare come again, I'll beat you every time I see you. Saying that, Hannah's parents disregarded their dignity, grabbing bowls and plates nearby to throw straight at him. Lucas didn't dodge, letting the porcelain hit him. But he still couldn't help asking one question.
Then what about Julian? He is also a rich young master like me. Aren't you afraid that one day he will be like me?
Before Hannah or her parents could speak, Julian took a step forward and spoke calmly. Julian, whether I am like you or not, time will prove everything, but I firmly believe that day will never come. From the day I started dating Hannah, I signed an agreement with her. If one day I betray her, all assets in my name will be transferred to her. Even after breaking up, half of all my future income will be shared with her. As long as she has enough money, she has the qualification to resist me. If I do wrong, she can punish me directly, no need to endure. I love her very much. If one day she doesn't love me anymore, if her heart turns towards the sky and freedom, she doesn't need to stop for me either. That sentence made Lucas completely stunned. Even Hannah was momentarily stunned. No one expected Julian could go to this extent. Even Hannah didn't expect his words of love to be so serious. At first, she just thought he was in the same circle as Lucas, perhaps asked by Lucas to test her, then would be like before, using and abandoning her for revenge. But after contact, she realized Julian wasn't like that at all. His personality was cold and distant, like having a private world no one could enter. Only when facing her, he was particularly proactive. Later, Hannah once asked him, "Why are you actively good to me like that? Doesn't fit your personality at all." He just smiled bitterly and replied, Julian, because I don't want to miss the chance again. I missed you once before. If I miss it again this time, maybe in this life we won't have the fate to meet again. I want to cherish every opportunity with you, stay by your side, and never leave." Hearing those words, Hannah was stunned. In her memory, there was absolutely no impression of Julian. Julian told her that he had met her since university and fell in love with her at first sight. They happened to meet many times, even made eye contact quite a few times, but her gaze never stopped on him. Until the first day she met Lucas, he had prepared a grand confession, but a heavy rain ruined everything. He held an umbrella intending to step out to pick her up, but was a step too slow. Lucas had arrived first. Since that time, every encounter seemed to carry an ironic script. Every time he arrived a step too late, unable to appear in front of her. It was hard to get a chance to talk to her, but her eyes were completely captured by Lucas. Later, Lucas confessed 99 times. Although she hadn't nodded, Julian understood she was moved, just lacking a bit of courage. So he chose to give up, only silently loving her from afar, in a place she couldn't see. That love couldn't be spoken nor exposed to the light. Therefore, he always said he wasn't interested in romance, only focused on science and career, dedicating himself to ideals. The family didn't lack heirs. The Julian family alone had a flock of children. Besides Julian, there was a pair of boy-girl twins. So no one rushed him about marriage. After knowing all that, Hannah was stunned for a long time before suddenly remembering that in her dusty memories, there indeed used to be Julian's shadow. It's just that at that time, she always thought he was Lucas's friend, so she never paid attention. Until today, hearing Julian's confession, she felt both touched and involuntarily a bit confused. Did she really deserve such deep love? She didn't love him to that extent yet. The love with Lucas had consumed almost all her emotions, even making her fearful, heavy, lacking trust. She was very afraid that if she poured her heart out again, she would be left with wounds all over by Julian. She didn't have enough strength to endure another 8 years. Julian realized the fragility in her heart, proactively took her hand, 10 fingers interlaced tightly. The warmth from his palm also gradually warmed Hannah's heart. Hearing him say gently, "Nom, Julian, don't be afraid. Not every love has to end with a perfect ending. If you don't love anymore, breaking up is fine. There's nothing impossible. Moreover, you're very good. You deserve to be loved. My love for you is voluntary. You deserve to have all the best things in this world." His eyes were always gentle and warm like the spring sun, able to melt all ice. Hannah was silent without speaking, but there was a tremor in her eyes. The broken dishes hitting Lucas's face cut a long gash, blood flowing down, yet he seemed not to feel pain, standing there silently, his eyes only staring at Hannah.
Sorry, Hannah. I truly love you. Things related to Tiffany before, I can explain. I misunderstood. I was deceived by her. I taught her a lesson. Please don't be so cruel, okay? Give me one more chance. I swear I will never hurt Hannah again. If I violate it, I will leave empty-handed. No. Right now I can transfer all assets in my name to her.
Lucas begged earnestly, bowing his head low, even picking up a broken shard to hold against his neck. He also forcibly took Hannah's hand, forcing her to become the one holding his life in her hands, pulling a crazy smile, his heart full of bitterness.
Hannah, if you hate me, killing me is fine too. Just don't leave me. I really can't stand a future without you. I can lose everything, but I cannot lose you. You can punish me however you want. Lock me in cold storage or put me in jail. Beat me, scold me. I accept it all. Just please don't abandon me.
Hearing those words, Hannah only felt her scalp tingle, withdrawing her hand angrily, ignoring his bleeding neck, and slapped him again. Really hard. Not good at all. I don't want to see you again, I hate you. Lucas, if you don't want to be hated by me for life, get out of my life. Saying that, she glared at Lucas one last time. Ignoring whether his wound was severe or light, Hannah immediately pulled her parents and Julian to leave. Lucas understood clearly that Hannah no longer belonged to him from now on. And, because of that, he would be lonely for a lifetime. He returned to the country, personally experiencing 10 times the pain he once brought to Hannah. Every year thereafter, he would live his whole life in that torment. Lonely until death.